Welcome back to a new Insomnia Art. The subject today is Carnage. Cletus Cassidy, patient at the Ravencroft Institute for the Criminally Insane, came across the offspring of the symbiote that will be known as Venom, and is possibly one of the most interesting Spider-Man villains of the recent time within the 90s. Not much came good out of comics in the 90s, but this is the one character that really survived that horrid time in comic book history. What makes Carnage so interesting is that he almost reminds me of like a horror movie creature. Like he reminds me of a split between almost like Freddy Krueger and like the xenomorph from Aliens, and I think that's something that Venom didn't really convey. Venom was still pretty much a villain, whereas Carnage is more of like a force of nature in the comics, known from his run on Maximum Carnage, which is a huge deal back in the 90s with the advent of this character and him running rampant all over Marvel Comics. He's been a sort of a staple in Spider-Man lore. He comes around every once in a while and just does his bit of carnage, as it were. So I really wanted to draw him because it's one of those characters I've never really had a good time drawing. It's just one of the handful that I just can't draw. Like him, Superman, Batman sometimes. Just can't draw him. I don't know why. It's just a mental block. But this time I'm really happy the way this one kind of worked its way out. As you see, I'm working horizontally because I'm trying to cover more of the canvas for this one. I want to give it more of an up-close and personal peek at the character. So I'm laying in all this extremely detailed black muscle sinew that he has. It's almost like this is a skinned human body, but all of the shadow is like completely inked out. Almost like the Frank character in Hellraiser. You know, I would imagine him, if this was a real life character, it would just be like a human body with the blood kind of spilling off of him and acting weird and Venom-like. But this character is actually extremely powerful based in the comic. He's pretty much Spider-Man on steroids. He's Venom on steroids for that much. And he's a handful. Spidey can't take him on his own. Venom can't take him on his own. It's always a team effort just to take him down, which is very interesting that they would give a character like this so much power. And from the driver of this system, or of this symbiote, is Cletus Cassidy, who's just flat out insane. Much unlike the Joker, who has some kind of, even a rudimentary rhyme or reason to his acting, Cletus Cassidy just wants blood. That's all he's ever wanted. He's a serial killer before he was introduced to the symbiote, and that overcharged by the symbiote's innate ability to kind of bring out your wanton desire and bad influences. It kind of just boosts that to 11. So here you can see I'm laying down all this crazy kind of tribal almost shadow work to kind of get the body right. Laying in his eyes, I wanted a peak of humanity in this picture, so I wanted to have his eye kind of exposed, the Cletus eye kind of showing that he's outright insane, and then of course the Carnage Spider-Man-ish eye that's all over the place and liquidy and kind of spilling off of him kind of upwards. Almost think like the ghost in The Devil's Backbone, how the blood kind of flew up the head. That's what I was kind of imagining when doing that eye. Here I'm laying in his face. I've been doing faces last inking wise because the face is the most important part to me, and I want to ink everything else but that. So now I'm just laying in colors. The pink mouth, recently in comics, the pink mouth has been kind of taken over by like a reddish kind of crisp Halloween orange. I don't like the original pink mouth, so I wanted to go with that. Here I'm laying in his tiresome flats for this character, all the little venomish strings of blood slash symbiote spilling off him because he has no control over himself or the symbiote, so it's literally constantly flowing off of him and oozing off of him. And I always like that effect with Carnage. So I'm laying in the deep red, and I'm going to start laying in my shadows for that. Now I'm doing the mouth, kind of getting that weird inner glow I wanted to go with. Now I'm doing his eye, getting all that sorted out in his eye area, because that's really the only color to do besides the red, because his character is primarily an all red character. So now I'm laying in my shadow work, putting in some lighter reds and even pinks at some point, just to kind of throw things up and throw things off a little bit. Now, Carnage isn't my favorite Spider-Man villain, but as a kid, he was extremely interesting to look at. Me being a horror geek, and him being a comic book character kind of was my chocolate and my peanut butter going perfectly. And looking at this character now and kind of going back and drawing him, I can see where my fascination came from. So now I'm finishing up this piece, laying in the background. Wanted to do some last minute line artwork, some light work, and that's about it. Happy the way this one came out. I hope you dig it. This is Mike from Navalkosmos, and I need to get some sleep, so I will see you later.